Scott, how are you working out this quarterback situation right now with Adrian's situation?
Well, we'll let the week develop and see where Adrian is. But we feel good about if we have to go with Noah and Luke. Those guys got a bunch of reps today, and they've been repping a lot all through the fall. So if it ends up being them, we're fine. But we're going to wait and see where Adrian is later in the week.
Knowing you have the bye week after this, how does that play into this decision process?
I don't know if it does. You know, if Adrian's healthy, he'll go. If he isn't, then we feel great about where else we are. It's good timing for a bunch of guys. I think it's been a long stretch here. We got a 1-week season to play the best we can this week, and we're going to be able to rest and get a lot of guys healthy.
Does he need to have a certain amount of practice in the week for you to feel comfortable playing with them? And does Noah change that conversation at all?
He needs to practice a little, but he's had plenty of reps, so we'll make those decisions down the road, and it kind of depends on when and if he's able to look efficient at practice.
How good do you feel about incorporating Luke some with where his game's at since he got here?
Luke's a special athlete. He's going to be a special player. We definitely want to save his year, so we have to be smart. I'd love to see him out there doing some things, but we have to be smart in which other games we play him in. It was funny Saturday. Once Adrian was out and Noah went in, Mario asked me on the headset if his helmet comes off or something, who are we putting in? And I said Luke without thinking about it and not expecting it to happen. It happened on the next play. So it was unfortunate he was out there. Did a good job on his one play, but he's got 3 more to play this year, and we're not going to play him in more than that.
Coach, what's the diagnosis on Adrian?
He'll be all right.
Given your policy on not discussing injuries unless it's a season injury, is there anything to say about being?
He'll be all right.
Would you have preferred, I know it's not set out, but in that moment, did you think back on that about what you would do if that situation came up with you?
Yeah, if I'd known it was one play, it's hard to say. Luke could have just easily popped the run and won the game for us. He's the next guy up on the depth chart right now, so he's the next guy in. We still got 3 more games to use him, so we'll figure out which 3.
Scott, of all the things that Noah did well on Saturday, how did you feel about the play where the snap was over his head and he was able to collect it and not even end up losing yards on that?
Yeah, we tell him all the time if there's some situation like that and we have any kind of bubble or RPO on to get outside the pocket and try to get rid of the ball unless you can get yards. And he did a good job. He tried to gain yards on it and couldn't, and threw the ball away and saved us a negative play. He made some good decisions Saturday, and that's what I expect out of him.
How do you evaluate just where the snaps are right now from the center position and that whole thing?
Well, we've had little snap issues all year. It's gotten better progressively as years gone along, but again, it's hard for quarterbacks or anybody else to have good timing, good rhythm, and have their eyes where they're supposed to be when we're worried about too many unknowns. And the snap is the first one. We're putting a lot on our quarterbacks from a decision standpoint. They have to be able to get their eyes on the right place and see the right thing to make the right read. So, we're playing young linemen, we're playing young center. It's gotten better, but it still needs to improve.
Which comes out about Minnesota when you see them on tape?
Well, first of all, they're undefeated. They've played well at the end of some tight games. I think they're big and physical up front. They have a big tight end that helps them in the running game. Their quarterback's been really efficient. They got 2 really good receivers. They're going to smash you and run some RPOs and take shots, and been putting up a lot of points. Defensively, I think they're a lot more sound than what we saw last year, more athletic. So they've definitely improved. You can tell it's year 3 of his tenure up there, and they're starting to look like the team that he wants them to look like. It's going to be a big challenge for us, but a great opportunity as well.
They're 9-2 after you guys beat them last year. You guys are 8-4 since playing Minnesota. What have the 2 programs done right since, I guess, mid-October of last year that put you guys in that position?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak to them. I know the whole thing's a process, and you just have to keep getting better inch by inch and day by day. And it's pretty obvious that they've continued to improve. I think we're on the right trajectory as well. So we'll probably have this game and a lot more tough games and big games against those guys.
Does it feel like you've won 75% of the last 12 games? Would you have?
I don't know. We're just in the middle of this process trying to get us where we want to be, and there's a lot of steps to take. We've certainly come a long way, but I don't think anybody in the building's happy with where we are either. So, as a coach, you're never completely. You can go undefeated and not be completely happy because you don't play as well as you want to. We just got to keep finding ways to give ourselves chances to win.
Scott, how did Maurice respond to you sitting in the first half, and what does he need to do to going forward?
Well, as far as the first half, that was my decision to hold him out. We hold our players to a certain standard, and we want them all to live up to that standard. We held him out the first half. How did he respond? We'll see how he responds this week. We want him to come back and prepare well and get ready to play well. And if he does, this will all be water under the bridge. But we need him to respond just like the rest of the team.
You guys, Minnesota with a pretty young offense. I guess what to you are some hallmarks of a young offense, and how do you guys kind of navigate that as an experience?
Well, anytime you're young, there's going to be ups and downs. The one great thing we did Saturday was we didn't turn it over, and that was probably the difference in the game. Young offenses can make plays. They can also make mistakes. We need to limit those mistakes. We still had a couple that cost us a drive here and there with a drop or a penalty or things like that. But if we limit the mistakes, we're going to have chances to win games. And, you can tell their young players are really good. Some of our best players are young guys. So there's a bright future ahead. But I think the key is making sure you're efficient and you don't beat yourself.
I know it's early in the week, but how much do you watch the forecast and maybe adjust your play sheet, just knowing what the conditions might be a little bit different out there on Saturday?
We'll see. I'm hoping for a nice, pretty, brisk fall day. If it turns into something else, we just have to make sure we have the right plays on the call sheet to operate in whatever kind of environment we're playing in.
What did you like about Noah Factor, both tangibly and intangibly, coming out of high school that led you to offering himself?
Well, I knew the family first and foremost. Played with two of his uncles on both sides. Good friends of mine, especially John Vedral and Matt Turman. Great athletes, great players. We liked the way Noah threw. Liked his athletic ability. He was a really good athlete in high school, basketball, football. Track and field, with the hurdle times that he ran, we knew he had the speed that we needed, and he's just got the right mentality. So we saw something in him, and he hasn't disappointed us. He's been a really good player, and if it is his turn to play on Saturday, I feel great about it.
Noah was a multi-sport athlete in high school. How much do you think his experience, particularly in basketball, helped him to become a better football player?
Yeah, I don't think enough kids are playing more than one sport. Specializing is great. You get better at your craft, but there's a lot of lessons to learn from other sports. Track makes you faster, makes you more athletic, more explosive. Basketball helps you with body control, understanding space. Just the competition of all those things help. I want to recruit a lot of guys that are multi-sport athletes because it means they love competition, they love being out there. Now there's good players that are and aren't, but if I had a choice, I'd take guys that are playing sports year-round.
You were, of course, a year away from being back with his Uncle Matt at his moment, his son. What do you know about him, some of the qualities that he may have had as a quarterback that have translated to Noah?
If I was comparing Matt and Noah, Noah's taller. Matt was a good friend, really good football player, really smart. Won some games here at Nebraska and in some key moments. So he would always rise to the occasion and never let the moment be too big for him. I can see some similarities with Noah there. I don't see Noah rattled very often, and anytime you have coaches' kids, they're used to kind of being in those situations, and both those two are coaches' kids, and they play that way.
Are you seeing some wide receivers that you think are on the cusp of contributing in games, and what's holding
We need guys to keep improving at that position. We got to be able to get open consistently. We got to be able to get them the ball. We got to be able to protect to get them the ball. We got to be able to push the ball downfield more in the passing game. We're working every day to try to make those things happen. The receivers had a really good day today, so hopefully that carries over and have a good Tuesday and a good Wednesday. And if weather allows us to throw it, I think we'll be ready to try to do some better things.
Coach, I know it's rare for a kicker, but are you guys considering redshirting Jack Pickering this year?
We hadn't talked about that yet. We've just been having our fingers crossed that he'd be back sooner rather than later. I guess if we get a few more years and games into the season, we might start to have that discussion. But right now, we just want him to be healthy.
Scott, with the bye week following this game, how much are you asking from your guys to pull into this week?
Everything. Pour everything into this week. It's 1 week season. We're going to look up on Sunday morning and either be 4-3 or 5-2, and then we get to rest and recuperate, kind of recover mentally too, and re-prepare ourselves for the next stretch. Whatever our guys got, they need to pour into this week to try to give us the best chance.
Now that you're the second year of this 4-year, 4-game redshirt plan, how much time do you apportion, either before the season or during the season, the strategy of who's going to burn it, who are you going to use in this game? Example with Luke, where 3 years ago you wouldn't have played Luke. Now you get to play him, but how much time do you spend just on the strategy?
We just have to talk about it every week. I think you can have a plan going into the season, but so many things change. It's impossible to come up with a strategy and stick to it. There's been weeks where we've needed guys on special teams, so we had to bring them up. We're trying to kind of rotate those guys to save games. You never know where you're going to have injuries, and one of those guys might have to play for you on offense or defense. So we're kind of just trying to make decisions each week as they come along and do our best to salvage a year for every guy that we possibly can.
Has there been an example of a player who you might have burned their red shirt, and played them, but you don't have to now? In other words, somebody who you would have played a full season, but because you have the 4 games, you're just using 4.
Yeah, if I had to pick one right now, Ramir Johnson is a kid that he's ready to help us. He's practicing really well. He's fast. He's going to give us a weapon somewhere down the road. He's played in 2 games. We got him in for a series and probably didn't play him enough Saturday, but that's 2 games. So we're going to do everything we can to try to keep him around here for 4 more years after this. But you never know what's going to happen with injuries and other things with the team, and we might end up having to play him. So, but he's an example of a guy kind of on the cusp that we're trying to get out there to help the team, but also if we can help it, make sure that he doesn't use this season without getting too many reps.
Did you guys spend any time as a staff looking at the execution on that field goal at the end? And what did you think as you watched it again? And how do you feel about being in that moment if you needed that kick?
I hope I'm not in that moment again. We've watched it obviously several times. The protection I think was pretty good. Right now, I got to get a little clarification on the rule because people are coming over our long snapper and have been for a couple weeks here. So I probably need to get some clarification on that rule. We got a little movement because they had 2 guys in the A-gaps that ran over our deep snapper. The rest of the protection I think was good. Kick certainly wasn't high enough. It found a unbelievable hole over somebody's hands, under somebody else's hands, and through. And we were due a break or 2, and I think we definitely got one at the end of that game.
Do you sense any frustration with Conoby, not just because of his number of catches, but it seems like there's been a couple times where he's been really close to making a big play, and he got held or balls low. It just seems like he hasn't been able to get on track.
Well, I tell you, I can't say enough about Conoby. Noah. He's a good football player, great person, tough, practices his butt off. I'm really surprised that the game hasn't afforded him more opportunities to make some plays, but that can't keep up. The way he's practicing and as many balls as he's catching in practice, sooner or later he's going to break out. And there's been a bunch that have been close, but we'll keep doing what we can to try to get him the ball.
After that emotional win, did you like the way your guys came back today?
Yeah, today was probably our cleanest Monday. And again, we're challenging the guys, pour everything you got into this week. And preparation leads to playing the game. Today was a good start.
What's cleanest? What do you mean?
Just cleanest. The practice was good energy. I thought the execution was probably, when I say cleanest, the execution was probably the best offensively that I've seen all year on a Monday. We kept it a little more simple today, so that might have had something to do with it, but the guys definitely responded and came out and practiced fast, and there weren't a lot of balls on the ground today. So guys knew what they were doing and started the week off really well.
What are your thoughts on Johnson, the receiver in Minnesota? You got to see him last year. How does he stack up to some of the top guys you face off against?
Yeah, I think they got several good receivers. Johnson probably being the leading one, but there's a lot of guys you have to pay attention to. They do a good job, running those guys deep and completing some deep balls. They do a great job on RPOs that if your eyes aren't right and you're not in the right place can turn into big plays. So they definitely have some weapons on the perimeter, and our DBs have to be on their game, but really everybody does because there's a lot of things that go into taking away those run-pass options.
How much has Cam Taylor Fritz just moving and playing safety pretty much full time help you settle the secondary and be consistent given Deontay's injury?
Well, of everything that's happened in the secondary, Cam, you're seeing what we saw in Cam all spring and all fall camp. He's a pretty special player. It's a good thing we have him because we're able to plug him in at any one of the spots and have a good player at one of those spots. So he gives us that flexibility. We've got some other guys playing well. Markel Dismuke was our DB of the game. He had a really good game Saturday. So there's some other guys doing some good things, but it's great to have a guy that you can move around and expect good play from no matter which position he's at.
What's the most encouraging thing to you about the way your defense is playing?
I just see improvement. I see him, getting better every time we go out. Before I took his job, I don't know if I would have ever expected to win a 9-6 game and a 13-10 game, but a lot of credit to Coach Janander and the rest of the D staff and all those guys on defense. We didn't play very well on defense against Ohio State and the fourth quarter out in Boulder. Other than that, our defense has played really well all year. So we got to be a little more consistent, but there's definitely been some vast improvement, and the majority of the time this year I've been really pleased with their play.
Now, the low-scoring nature of those games, is that more about your offense, or is that just about how good the Big Ten defense is?
It's both. We got a long way to go offensively. We got to create more things, get more weapons. There's a lot of things that still need to make our offense better. But this is a good league, and a lot of these teams are built. This is a grown man's league, and if you're going to run the ball in this league, you better have some grown men blocking and carrying the ball. Better have athletes on the perimeter so you can take advantage of it when people are loading the box. Northwestern's got a good defense. Pat does a great job. They got tough kids. They're going to be in a lot of those games this year.
Hey, Scott, the pick, the Lamar Jackson interception, there was some question whether or not that was pass interference, but beside the point, after the game, Coach Cicero said that he'd love to have the ability to throw the red flag like they do in the pros. Would you be favor of that? Or?
No, I watched the Cowboys game yesterday. I'm not sure the red flag is a very good idea. Every time we try to solve one problem by fixing something, it creates more problems. I'm watching NFL games, and I don't think I've seen them overturn a pass interference call. There's too many stoppages, too many TV timeouts, everything for my liking right now anyway. So, we all complain about a call here and a call there. For the most part, the referees are doing a really good job in our league, and they know what they're doing. And honestly, a couple of the calls that I've disagreed with the most in my time here have been ones that have gone to replay. So I'm not sure that would always get it right. So I would prefer to keep the game the way it is.
Anything else for Coach?
Did your dad ever talk about his game in Minnesota? He played that?
Dad talked to me about every game he played. So it'd be hard for me to figure out which one that was, but
He caught 2 touchdowns.
there was actually a picture in my grandpa's office at his shop at the dairy farm, just between here and Malcolm, of about 5 still frames of one of Dad's touchdowns against Minnesota. So I've been seeing that since I was able to walk at my grandpa Top's farm.